Greetings, heathens, heretics, and aging gentlemen from
Oh,
Belgium
suits you, sir.
and East London, to be fair, because you're both pretty old, aren't you? I'm
I
still
think we
closer
all
to
are.
40 than 50, but anyway, so enough waffle. Nige, it's been a while since the
It's
last
been
time
at
you were on.
least 4 days.
Well, in that sense, yeah, but the last time you were on, this was, fuck me, it's got to be getting on for 2 years, I think.
I think it's 18 months. It was about the end, right at the end of 2023, I
Yeah,
think.
did you
Yeah,
not do a Desert Island Discs? If
did.
if,
That
if
was it.
people want to do the rewind, there is an episode out there where Mr. Savage digs into his most savage discs.
That is true.
It
That
was
is true.
December 2023, it was, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, go back and check that out. But how are you doing, sir? You good?
Yeah, really good. Recovered from the weekend and yeah, a weekend of riffs and yeah, all is good. Dying in the heat wave slightly here, which has got hotter and hotter since we were
Yeah,
last weekend, but it's yeah, all is good.
it's the fucking same here. And I suppose, yes, I suppose, drummist, are you okay too? Let's check on you as well, because
Well, thanks for asking. Yes, I'm fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
All right. Similar story here, man. My head is melting. But
So
it does that,
um,
whatever the weather.
so recently, Nigel and I went to Alcatraz Festival in Belgium, which was a delightful weekend. So we thought we'd come on and talk about it. And Bean
To
can't stay away, so
to
you
waffle
know,
a bit more, if you excuse the
to
pun.
what? Oh, you know what? I didn't even
Oh,
clock that one. Fuck's sake.
gold standard waffling.
Yeah, I just had to bring it back round to that. I mean, come on, that was an
You
opportunity
waffle
missed.
eating. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna talk a bit about obviously the lineup and whatnot and the differences to UK and Europe and just some other sort of good, bad, and ugly kind of thing. 'Cause it's my first one, but Nigel, you've been, what was it, four or
I
five
think,
times now?
yeah, I think this is I can't remember. I think it was my fifth one this year. And I think the first year I went was, I think, 2018. And it was on a kind of a bit of a whim. And it was really because so I'd been going to Bloodstock for quite a few years before that. And then there was one particular year, and I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019, that the lineup at Alcatraz was just way better than the Bloodstock lineup. And I looked into how to get there, and it's like, oh wow, it's really easy on the Euro. This is when I was still living in the UK, and it's like, oh, it's really easy on the Eurostar, quick on the Eurostar, and then a quick train from Lille to Kortrijk, where it is, and the festival's just on the edge of the town, so it was easy. So that was my first year, and it was great. And so since then, I've been every year apart from the COVID year, which was when I went to Bloodstock because obviously there was still no travel and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's my fifth one this year. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
Amazing.
I can definitely vouch for how easy it was to get there from the UK. It was an absolute piece of
yeah,
piss,
yeah.
which makes all the difference. So for me, the last European festival I did was Wacken in 2006 and 2007, and that was considerably more effort. Obviously, it's further, it's Germany, but it also was a whole lot of effort. So for it to be that simple,
Hmm.
I don't think there's any real sort of
No.
excuses if you need an alternative. So
So you mentioned it's just on the edge of the town. So presumably the Eurostar drops you in town, and then what's the journey like from there to the site?
so
Well, so
you're
basically, yeah, the
you go on.
Eurostar takes you as far as Lille, and then you basically need to change trains and get like a sort of, I guess, a local train, which takes like 25 minutes or so from
Something like
Lille
that.
to Kortrijk. So the town it's in is called Kortrijk, 25 minutes, and then literally from the station. I mean, it's a 10-minute taxi ride or I mean, we were staying in town. We tried walking once. It was about 45 minutes, which wasn't fun at 2 o'clock in the morning. Um, from then on, we just got Ubers, and it's like a 10-minute car ride. So it's super. I mean, there's obviously camping there as well, but even for people staying in hotels and Airbnbs and stuff, it's dead easy. So
I think it's worth mentioning as well that there was no major price hike either, was there? With taxis, it
no.
was pretty much the same for every journey. It was one night, it was a bit more, and there was one morning that it was a bit more, but
Mm.
generally it was like 12, 13 quid a journey, wasn't it? So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which I don't think was bad.
yeah.
So,
Just with it being so close to town and presumably like, Airbnbs and accommodation, does that impact like the campsite? Is it, yeah, would you say most people camp or it's maybe not so many?
No, I think the campsite, compared to Bloodstock, obviously the campsite's a lot smaller.
mm,
So I think the number of attendees is about the same. I think it's about 18,000, 20,000 ish, I think. But I think the campsite is a lot smaller, but you can tell by how many people don't camp there by the number of bicycles there are outside every
Right,
morning. So I
right.
think loads of people, and when I've been before when Steve wasn't with us, I would stay in town and I would cycle backwards and forwards. Um, so I think a lot more people will stay somewhere else and then either cycle in or get, yeah, there's loads of shuttle buses and stuff as well. So I think a lot fewer people camp.
I think it's worth mentioning the bike rack as well. Because you say people parking their bikes outside, this fucking bike rack was like half a football pitch,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's
Right.
just
And is
full
it
of bikes.
like a sort of a hire biker? Like, how do people find their bikes?
Bit of
Like,
both. Well, yeah,
is it
was
like they're
Sixth
all just the
Sense.
same, so you just take one and head off, or you
I think
know?
it's just Sixth Sense, isn't it? But it's just
Yeah.
weird when we were sort of walking there the first day, and there's just all these metalheads going past on bikes.
Mm, yeah.
But that's that part of the world, isn't it? Belgium, Holland, they do love a bike, so it makes sense. And it is
Yeah.
pretty flat as well. The
Mm,
whole journey is just about flat, so I get it. It makes sense.
mm.
But yeah, so from that side of things, it was absolutely spot on. We got there on the Thursday, so it's just pretty much the same sort of setup as Bloodstock. You got an evening on the Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, full days. So we got there and we went straight to watch a Motorhead tribute band, which were terrible.
Awful. Just awful.
Motorheads, that's it. Just stuck
Motorheads.
an S on the end.
Lazy.
Just
Yeah.
very lazy, messy guitar playing, which he noticed more than I did. But yeah, just
Yeah.
fucking yeah, not just pointless. Utterly. If
Yeah.
you're going to do a tribute, and we'll talk about that in a minute,
Yes, we will.
do something a bit different with it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't just go fucking straight down Route One, and it
Yeah.
may it may as well have been Motorhead.
Right. Okay. But I was
It's
going to
not
say
played very well.
you've got to do one of two things. You've got to either do something completely different, like someone like Max Sabbath, which is just ridiculous,
Yeah,
or Black Sabbath, for example,
Mm.
or you've got to do it really fucking well.
yeah,
Yeah, you've got to
You
be.
know,
Yes, I agree.
like
It
like
was.
Motorhead Ache, I think, are a good example of a Motorhead tribute band. That's like if you squint, it's a bit like seeing Motorhead. You know.
yeah.
Yeah,
But this lot were
but
just lazy.
they
Right.
just didn't have that. I mean, I think what's the number one thing you think of when you think of Motorhead? You think of that really dirty bass tone,
Yeah.
right? And he just didn't have that. He had like a normal bass tone
It
with like
was
a
too,
bit of
yeah, it was too
just
clean. No charisma, no nothing. So
no,
complete
not good.
fucking waste of time. Look, on the Thursday as well, we watched Exorder, who were better than we expected, weren't they? I thought they were
Right.
actually really good.
They were good.
Um, Overkill headlined that night, and
Disappointing,
yeah,
actually.
pretty bland to be fair from such a
Uh,
you know
Right.
a massive thrash band.
yeah, and
Even
I'd seen them
Invaders
so
were
many times before. I'd seen them so many times before, and they're always one of those just like reliable, bit like Testament, right? They're always reliable. They turn
yeah.
up, they sort of dish out the riffs, and they're good. But I don't know what it was. There was something off about them. It just didn't hit at all, did it?
Right.
No, it didn't. It
I guess
didn't.
everyone has to have an off day, don't they?
Yeah.
And I think if they've been consistent, then fair play to them. But yeah,
Yeah, I
Mm,
mean it's fucking overkill, isn't it? They've been doing it for donkey's years, then so it's
mm.
nothing out of the ordinary. Evil Invaders we caught a bit of, but Violent Sin, who are a Belgian speed metal band, pretty much
Brilliant.
stole the night, and they were fucking just superb.
Yeah,
Like,
they really were.
and they were the first time. There's quite a bit of speed metal over the weekend, and to be fair, the speed
Right.
metal bands won the festival for me. Like from across the board, they were all great. But watching those bands, it just makes you wonder why we don't have this shit in the UK. Why those
Mm.
bands have no platform here? It's bizarre because, like,
Especially,
for all intents and
especially
purposes, it's just classic heavy metal.
Well,
yeah,
but especially when Hellripper are doing so well. Admittedly,
Yeah,
they're doing really well in Europe as well. But like a package, if you went along to a Hellripper show and Violent Sin, for example, was supporting, or another couple of bands that we saw over the weekend, Vulture is another one. It would just be such a ripping like lineup. But I don't think Violent Sin are ever likely to find themselves on a bill in the UK, which is just such a shame because there's obviously an audience for it. It's just I don't know.
yeah,
it's got to be.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we
Yeah.
we were at the midnight show, New
Similar.
Cross
same
Inn,
thing. Yeah,
right, and it was packed,
Hmm.
and it's a young audience as well, a
yeah,
really young audience, which it tells me that that style is turning heads, and it's turning
Hmm.
people on to that scene. So I hope, maybe that'll change. Maybe we'll see more of
Hopefully.
those bands being booked because that New Cross Inn gig was stacked.
the
Yeah.
age thing is valid as well, and I see it at Bloodstock crowds getting younger and younger. But what we noticed was there's a lot of sort of like probably 15 to sort of 20-year-olds doing the full on heavy metal revival, mullet,
Hmm.
dodgy moustache, maybe a
Right.
pair of NHS specs. Obviously the cut-off jackets, but like the studs up here, the studs down here, maybe a
Hmm.
button bag, like the full fucking
Right.
revival, not half-assed. Everything.
Nice.
When you go for the haircut as well, you are fully committed.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Totally.
these are 15, 16-year-olds. It's fucking great.
Yeah, totally, totally. It was
You know,
definitely a
it was really
much
cool.
younger crowd
Yeah, they
than.
were the life and soul of a lot of the performances because they were, especially the Belgian bands.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It's
know,
great to
so
see that. It's great to see the Belgian bands get so much support.
yeah,
Actually, you
yeah,
know,
it's important. And talking of Belgian bands, we should talk about the Belgian Quo band.
I tell you what, we all day. I think we were probably all week. Actually, we were joking. It's only 3 days until we're watching the Belgian Quo band, and we were just going to be joking. And then, especially because the first band we saw when we turned up were this decidedly average Motorhead tribute band, I think we were thinking,
Right.
"Oh, this is going to be crap." But but they were fucking, they were amazing. They
They
were
were so much fun.
properly amazing.
They were so
Really
much
good.
fun. Yeah.
I got a text. I must have been partway through their set or after their set, just saying that Belgian Quo Band have absolutely fucking nailed it.
They
I
did.
thought I thought you were joking.
No.
I thought like you were making up some bizarre concept but no, it turns out it was legit, yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
my opinions on tribute bands as well. So
Mm,
you
Right,
know, but this it's all about the setting, I think, with that kind of thing. And the setting was right. And
right.
the first part of the set, you had the bass player and the drummer from Status Quo
mm.
Wow.
playing as well. So because we were confused, he started talking the bass player, and he was Irish. And we're like, this doesn't make sense. But then
Yeah, yeah,
it all kind of transpired that those two were in Quo. They
yeah.
disappeared, and then the other two members of the Belgian Quo band came back on,
Fucking
and they
hell.
finished off the set. So
Fair play. I think Quo are one of those bands that really inspire kind of fanatical,
yeah,
like people that are into Quo really, really love and respect Quo.
yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that a tribute band would pay it all due respect.
No,
Yeah, and
it was a lot
and
of fun.
also the sound as well. The sound was like really bang on. It was
Yeah,
just crystal clear. It just was a really professional like
Right.
performance.
but
Really, really.
without losing the heart and soul of
Yeah,
what they're trying to do. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, good fun. That the right time, the right setting, and good fun. And we were
Yeah.
pissed as a fart by then.
I
I
was going
think
to say,
We
was
were.
that a late night set
It
as
was.
well?
it was a late go in the evening. Yeah, and we'd been on Belgians, and yeah,
Right.
so,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
it could be terrible for all we
I
know.
mean, one would say a perfect storm, perhaps.
yeah. We'd had the perfect amount of beer for the Belgian Quo band. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. It's the perfect dose.
Yeah,
Going into the Friday, 3 Inches of Blood were the first band we watched, weren't they, on the main stage in the midday heat, and they were great fun as you'd expect. I mean,
yeah.
Mm,
they
mm.
got stuff as well.
His voice has really held up as well. I think that's kind
Yeah,
of the main thing because I'd seen them before, like 10 years ago, whatever it was, and obviously his voice sounded great there. But 10 years down the line, when you're
Yeah.
doing those kind of high vocals, it could always go wrong. But it didn't. He sounded bang on, actually, didn't he?
Right.
yeah, he was. He was
Yeah.
great. They were really sharp. Um, Chemicide, it's a Costa Rican thrash band, probably the thrash band of the weekend, I would say, just about
It's,
them and
one of
Forbidden.
two, but certainly, yeah, they were great. Actually, they were
Yeah,
really, really good, really good.
sounded fucking pin sharp, didn't they? Every riff, it just everything like hit really hard, and
But
they
that's
were like,
coming that's coming from two discerning thrash metal fans there, you know.
Yeah,
well,
No,
him
and
especially, yeah, yeah,
well, and especially because there was some fairly average and disappointing thrash over the weekend, which was surprisingly disappointing given who the bands were. But this
yeah,
was a band
right.
I didn't, I kind of I thought I'd heard of them before, but during the set, I checked my Apple Music and I didn't have anything by them so it must have been something I just spotted on Twitter and hadn't paid attention to. But yeah, they were fantastic, really,
and
really good.
they were sort of quite overcome with the occasion, weren't they? Because they were genuinely like
Yeah,
happy to be there. The tent was packed. And when you get that kind of thing, they travel from Costa Rica. What did he say? It was a 13-hour flight or something?
17.
17-hour flight,
Yeah,
and they were fucking, he was almost wiping tears away. So,
yeah,
that all that when you that package goes, it all,
Yeah, you can't ignore moments like that,
nah,
when
nah,
no,
when someone the genuine passion and it all goes into the performance and for them to
exactly.
experience the gratitude of a crowd that have turned up and are enthusiastic,
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me.
yeah.
yeah, they were fucking superb. I caught a bit of Frail who were really good. We watched a little bit of Snot. They were fucking terrible. Just no need for bands like that anymore. Messer,
More mucus than snot.
yeah,
Yeah.
just wipe your nose and it's gone. Messer were excellent.
Right now, let's
Very,
just
very
pause
cool.
on Messer because this has been one of our albums of the year, really. Surely,
Yeah,
like this new Messer release, I think, has stopped a few of us in our tracks. So it came across live.
it
Just as
came,
majestic.
yeah, I mean, it came across really well. Yeah, majestic is the word. It was very cool. Like she's very attractive, beautifully set out, all in black, and what you'd expect from an Italian sort of goth band.
Mm.
Did a lot of the set standing there with her hands in her pockets. It was very sort of jazz club, was the way
Yeah.
it was
Right.
presented. But they,
Midnight at the Oasis.
yeah, a bit better than that. But like they were on the smallest stage, which helped. But in general, it was just classy and just yeah, it's almost hard to sort of describe why they're so good. They're
Mm.
quite unique, I think. They're mixing that post-punk and goth and a
Yeah.
little bit of doom and whatnot. But it's a real melting pot, and it did sound really cool live. And it's just bass player, guitar player, drums. It's just nice and simple. You hear everything coming through. The guitar playing was great. All that Southern blues that's in there as well all came out. It was very, very cool. They're supporting Paradise Lost in the UK.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anybody's going to that, you'll be able to catch them, but definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I haven't listened to the album, and so for me, I was coming to it a bit cold, and it didn't immediately grab me. And but I
Mm.
have to also say, I know you got, it's not entirely my sort of music, but I think it was more the kind of thing that they were really good. Like it wasn't something that grabbed me particularly, but I could see that it was a great performance. Her voice was just
Yeah,
phenomenal.
outstanding. Yeah,
You know, but it's made me want to go back and listen to the album because I think that might then it's hard to see bands that you've never really listened to live. But I was impressed with the performance, even though it wasn't necessarily something for me.
Right. And on that point, actually, the album for me wasn't the first time.
me neither.
I think you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that that's significant. It does take a couple of listens, but when it hits, when the penny drops, man, does it drop?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a great piece of work. So they were excellent. I mean, from there, with Dying Fetus,
One extreme to the other.
Right. Of
completely.
course.
They were one of the biggest surprise packages of the weekend for me because I'm not a huge fan. But live, oh fuck me, were they full on? They were so good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's insane. I saw them for the first time at this thing I went to in Philadelphia last April, so like sort of 15, 16 months ago. And again, I wasn't a Dying Fetus fan at all, but there were a couple of guys from Metal Twitter who were there, and they were like, "Oh no, no, you need to come in and see this." And I was blown away. Like I think it's probably like biggest guitar tone of the weekend for a
Yeah,
start.
I
It
just,
was
yeah,
Right.
to say they're a three piece and they sound like there's about 10 of them. It's just absolutely insane how much noise they make. And just super cat. It's really catchy though, I think it's a lot of that type of death metal is just doesn't really do it for me, but for some reason they really do. And I think live it goes to another level even more.
yeah.
That's brilliant.
Fucking great. You mentioned kind of a lot of different bands that you've seen. I'm assuming you're bouncing from stage to stage. What's that experience like, on the site?
Piece of piss. I mean, so
Right.
the site is kind of like, I suppose it's a lot like T-shaped. Obviously, the
Mm.
biggest part is the main stage, and where the main stage is, the second stage, which is the biggest tent, is sort of right behind you. If you're looking at the main stage, that's behind. But
Right.
those two generally don't clash, so there's no sound bleed between the two. And then the other two are off. You've then got a medium tent, then you've got like a shelter tent, which I'll talk about in a bit, and then the fourth one is a very small marquee right up by the entrance, and there's no barrier on that one either, so you're right on the
Right.
stage.
Right.
Which that in itself is really cool. You never see that at a UK festival, but
Hmm.
No.
that really added to it because a lot of the bands like Vulture, for instance, encourage your stage divers and everything. All that was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
So
think, and it's really well spaced out, and so but it's still all quite close together. So I think
yeah,
you could walk from the furthest stage, which is kind of the smallest tent, I guess. You could walk from there to the main stage, which is probably the other side, probably in 5 minutes, I guess.
tops.
It's
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
it's all really easy, and there's a couple of ways to get there. So it's not like everyone's funneling through one place. There's like a couple of ways you can kind of go around the various food stalls and merch stalls and stuff. So it never feels like you're in the middle of a sort of traffic jam to get somewhere.
no, it was never felt overcrowded at all, and that was noticeable. Yes, it
Hmm.
felt busy, but yeah, because you had a couple of ways to go around, that did make a lot of difference. So yeah, that was a big thing. So yeah, it was a Dying Fetus. I mean, from there, Year of No Light, which was an educating experience.
Right. Okay. How so?
I mean, you had two drummers,
Yeah,
um, two sort of moogs, but one of the drummers played the second moog. Was it two or three guitar players?
three.
Three guitar players and a bass player, all instrumental. I mean, I go back for a while. There's an album they released. I think it's about 2010. Fuck it, it's already gone from my head now what it's called, but the set was heavily on that, and it's very arty, instrumental post rock kind of stuff.
Right.
Quite interesting to watch.
Hmm.
Maybe whether it was
Yeah,
the right setting, I don't know, but it was quite cool.
yeah. It was like I think it was immediately after Dying Fetus, and I think it's difficult to go from that to that,
It was a
right?
palate cleanser, Nige.
It was a palate cleanser, but I think in a different kind of setting, I think it would be. I'd be interested to see them like do their own show, for example. You know,
Yeah, yeah. In the small space
yeah.
club.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting um thing. A lot of bands come, there's a lot of variety at festivals, and we saw similar things at Bloodstock across the weekend where there are some bands that just work better indoors, like in a small venue or in something that's a bit enclosed. I'm not, that may or may not have been true for these guys, but you do see that where particularly like black metal bands in the sunshine, that's
Yeah,
that's one that
yeah,
always kind of
yeah,
I'm like, if I saw these on a different day in a different venue, I might enjoy them more. So you kind of have to allow for that,
Yeah.
I think, with certain
yeah,
acts.
yeah. But they were still good. So and it was something a bit different. We went scraping the barrel from there. Went to catch a bit of
Mm.
Wasp,
Terrible.
who were
Right.
terrible. It's time to
We're,
stop, Blackie. It really
exactly.
is.
It
Was
was horrendous. It was like his voice just sounded awful. And I love Wasp, right? Early Wasp is just fucking great, but he's just sounding terrible. I think
Right.
there was a ton of backing tracks going on as well.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
just, it, it, just retire.
The
You know.
speech he made as well, because they were playing Wasp in full, so the 1984 album in full,
Right.
which obviously opens with "Fuck Like a Beast," which they
Mm.
don't play anymore. And then he made, but after about two, three songs, and he made this big speech about we want to play this album in full, but they said we shouldn't, but we said we will. We'll play it our way. We'll play it in whatever sequence we want, and just played everything but "Fuck Like a Beast." It was like
Oh, right.
you're just a fucking bad cliche. Fuck off.
Yeah. It
Awful.
was very disappointing indeed.
Yeah,
Wasp
Um,
has lost its sting.
yes.
it's been stepped on, mate.
Right.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Someone
We
brought the
caught we
bug
caught a little
spray.
bit caught a little bit of King Buffalo. They were interested. Anybody go see anything really cool? Dark Angel. We again another thrash
Mm.
band that we were a bit bored with. Weren't we? Not
And the
great.
thing is, listen, one of my favorite old school thrash bands was very excited to see them, and it was compared to the younger, compared to Violent Sin the night before, compared to
Right.
Chemicide earlier on in that day, the young Costa Rican guys,
Yeah.
it was no comparison. Like
Nah,
they just didn't match up at all.
nah,
Right.
they weren't great.
Right.
You went to check out a bit of Mastodon.
Yeah, I did, and it was. I've got to say, I mean, I don't regret leaving because of what happened next, but I was stayed for maybe 4 or 5 songs, and they were on it, man. They were fucking on it, and they looked like having a really good time. But it sounded really, really, really good. And I'd seen Mastodon twice before. Once was when they were headlining Bloodstock, and I think 2016, and they were not very good. Then again, I saw them in 2023 at a festival in Poland, and they were absolutely brilliant. So I was kind of like, I wonder if we're going to get this Mastodon or that Mastodon. But
Right.
they sounded really great. But I left to go and meet Steve, who was at
Helicopters.
Helicopters.
Yeah.
I was on the
Right.
barrier watching them, and
Another
just
band that we've championed
yeah,
that, that
and
album is one that's kind of
yeah.
captured all of us.
And it came to life. Obviously they played a set that's across their entire career, but just like I said when I think I texted the group, I just said it was like it was all blues riffs and Cuban heels and all the swagger that comes with that kind of music. They were just
And that was just Nige.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
hear him. I could hear the heels coming behind me. But mate, they were just so fucking good.
They were
Just
they were
you know,
like I'm not as I haven't been as long time a fan as you have, so a lot of the songs I hadn't heard before, and there were 3 songs in particular which I've now temporarily forgotten the names of. And I remember I was standing there. This is like the first time I'd heard them. They weren't songs off the new album, I don't think. And I was just like, "Oh, these are good songs." They were just so infectious. And he was, obviously Nicky's just brilliant on stage, but the whole band are just, it's just, they were fucking brilliant. Blew me away. Completely blew me away. And
Yeah,
it's not,
so good.
it's probably one of the lightest bands that we saw that weekend, right? It's almost not really, it's not even really metal, right? It's just sort of hard
No,
rock,
no, not at all.
you
It's
know?
pure rock and
So
roll.
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It just proves if you've got good songs and a bit of attitude and a bit of swagger, and
Mm.
because they were electrifying live. And Nicky Anderson, great front man, but as a twin guitar,
Yeah.
Mm.
they were like fucking on it and like
They
proper
were.
on it. All the poses, it's just so fucking good to
You
watch.
know, it's energy, it's enthusiasm. It's kind of probably what the difference is between a band like Overkill and some of the younger thrash bands,
Mm.
Chemicide coming up, because they're hungry, they've got energy. Overkill have done that performance, 100, 200,
Yeah,
500 times.
Yeah.
Well, I
Totally.
suppose to be fair, so would have helicopters, but
yeah, been around a long time. Yeah,
but it's that treating every show like it's your last or your
Mm.
first, that kind
yeah,
of that hunger,
Yeah.
that energy.
It was
That's what you
it was
pay to see.
infectious. It
very
was
Yeah.
much
really
so.
infectious. Brilliant.
Yeah, they were great. I mean, we rounded off the night. We watched a bit of Creator, and we were like, "Yeah, this is good, but it's Creator. It's this kind of the same as we saw last year." And we
Mm.
caught the last sort of two or three songs of Ministry, didn't we?
They
Who
Right.
sounded pretty. They sounded big.
just sounded fucking ridiculous,
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I
as
mean,
we
they
talked
can.
about on the Bloodstock episode, because that came before. Um, they just sound massive live.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah.
do. They're just crushingly heavy.
Mm.
Yeah, and and Creator were sort of, they weren't bad, but they were just doing, it was like another Creator show, right? So it was just fine. And kind of on reflection, I kind of wish that we probably just skipped Creator and gone and seen more of Ministry, which I think, because I'd never seen Ministry before, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it was like, they were really, they sounded massive. So yeah.
Mm. Mm.
And he seemed pretty coherent as well, didn't he? He didn't seem like he was,
Yeah, you
took
see,
the head
yeah,
of his
yeah,
face.
he seemed totally with it. Which the last time I saw Ministry, going back to 2007, he was a fucking mess. So
Mm.
Right.
you
Good for
know,
him.
so
Yeah.
so yeah, that was the Friday. Going into Saturday again, I caught a couple of bands early on: Knife, Mammoth Grinder, Evergrey. The first band proper we watched were Vulture,
Right.
who
Yeah.
were fucking just brilliant. Again, it's balls to the wall, head
German
through a
speed metal.
wall, German heavy metal, fucking
Yeah.
brilliant, with some
Yeah.
fireworks as well on the smallest stage.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, fucking brilliant. If ever they're playing, go and see them. They're amazing. Next band we saw, we'll talk about in a minute because they need more time. We
Mm.
watched a bit of Nail Bomb on the main stage. Something was lost. Enormous crowd. Right.
Mm.
I
Mm.
think the only band that had a bigger crowd that weekend was Machine Head.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know Bloodstock had the issue with them in the tent that not enough people couldn't get in there.
Yeah, oh, it's
Mm.
absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
Absolutely
But
stacked.
we were
Yeah.
saying when we were watching them, this would work better in a tent.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
So one way or another, you're going to lose. But we didn't watch them a lot because it wasn't really carrying.
Yeah, well, I
It
think
was
because we'd come
sounding the
from
same a little bit.
we'd seen the whole set of the previous band, who we'll talk about in a minute, and I guess because we got there then when Nail Bomb had already started, and so
Yeah.
we were it was on the Nail Bomb were on the main stage, they were outside, and we were right at the back of a very big crowd, and so it just didn't, just that alone, right, makes it harder to get into the
Yeah.
vibe. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe if we were right down against the barrier, it might have been
Yeah.
different. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it, you know,
I get the sense there'll be more opportunities with Nail Bomb because I
I
think
think
this
so.
could be the
Yeah.
beginning of a more regular. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? But
I,
it
I would
just
I would like to see them indoors in like a 2,000 cap venue or something like that. I think it'll
Mm.
be
yeah. I mean, they were intense at Bloodstock, so it's worth. I think it is worth catching them in the right venue.
yeah, that'll be one. Vader we watched a bit of, was a bit okay. We caught a bit of Rivers of Nile.
Mm.
Crypt Sermon were fucking awesome.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like a baby Candlemass with a children's TV presenter as a singer.
Yeah. That was good.
In
Okay,
white-
hang on. You can't rush past this one. Say that again.
He just looked
A baby Candlemass with what was it? A children's television presenter
as
for
a singer. Yeah,
he
Right.
just looked like he was very excited to be on stage and a bit surprised, and then trying to make everybody, how children's TV presenters kind of over egg the sort of happiness thing. He was
Right.
like,
Yeah. Did he have a puppet?
yeah.
They
The
did-
bass player was his puppet.
but he did have white cowboy boots, which was interesting.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
But in all honesty, though, all joking aside, they sounded awesome. Like I say,
Amazing.
the comparisons with Candlemass are definitely there, but they
Yeah.
do it really well. And again, songwriting comes through. you
Right.
know. So and the tent was packed, and I think they played in London the day after. That was a
Mm.
sold out show at the Black Heart. So
Mm, mm.
and probably they had really good sort of stage presence. It wasn't just sort of doom, you know.
No.
There's lots going on. So
Yeah.
Well, I
fucking
think
superb.
actually what I kind of always forget, what I always forget about Crypt Sermon is that they actually have quite a lot, they're more faster paced songs as
Yeah,
well. I think
yeah.
they're generally, I know they have Candlemassy bits and their slower riffs are very Candlemass kind of epic doom, but they have quite a lot of faster bits as
Mm.
well. It doesn't get into thrash levels, but it's,
Yeah. You sort of,
but
yeah,
But
like a bit of a
and
gallop
again,
there.
a bit similar to the 3 inches of blood thing. Again, his voice just sounded exactly like it did or like it does on record. I mean, like he just nails the vocals, which is so important for
Mm.
that type of band as well, right? So brilliant, really, just really, really good, and also incredible guitar player as well.
Yeah.
Guitar
Mm.
player was absolutely
Yeah.
insanely good.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think you can, or maybe like I don't think you can really phone that stuff in. If you're a fan of Candlemas, you've got to be tuned into the theatrics of it, the
Yeah.
delivery of it, because that's what it's
Drama.
all about.
Yep.
That style of doom. It's about drama, isn't it? And
Yeah.
creating that drama.
Yeah. And
Yes,
they
absolutely.
do it very, very well. So hopefully they'll come back to Europe at some point and do some more shows in the UK because I would definitely go again. Doro, she was great.
Good.
She was
Yep.
fucking brilliant.
Legend,
Absolute
legend.
You've
legend.
got to
Yeah.
take your hat off. You've got to take
We
your hat
we
off to
we kind of wandered down, didn't we? Oh, we'll watch a little bit. It's probably going to be a bit naff, but you know what? She was so again all the enthusiasm. You know,
Right.
she was so fucking into it. Couldn't understand a word she was saying when she was talking to the crowd half the time. German accent just kept getting stronger. But
Yeah.
she bangs out a cover of Breaking the Law, which is always going to be great fun. And she ends the set with Warlocks, All We Are, just
Right. Yeah.
great.
What an anthem.
Just like,
Yeah.
but we came away with that with a smile on our face, definitely. So I think
We did.
Nige was a little bit hard as well.
Was it Love Struck? Was he
I
love?
was still thinking. I was still thinking about Trip Sermon's white cowboy boots. Though.
You're thinking
Well,
about
you're
Doro in a
trying to
pair
put
of
the
white
two
cowboy
things
boots.
together in your head, like
Yeah,
Doro in the cowboy boots.
yeah, that's what it was.
I was confused.
Let's move on. The Night Eternal, I thought were excellent. The singer was on crutches as well because he'd done an ACL, so he was a bit sort of
Right.
more
Doesn't work
static than
quite
he
as well
likes
as
to
the
be.
cowboy boots, does it?
No,
Crutches.
no, but they
No.
they were excellent band and need to play the UK. We watched a couple of songs after that of Extreme, and they just sounded rubbish, didn't they?
It was just like blues jam.
Yeah,
Right.
It was just, and I know Nuno's an amazing guitar player, and he's by far the most talented member of that band, and he'd be by far the most talented member of most bands. But it just seemed to be basically like an excuse for. It was like watching an Yngwie Malmsteen show, right, where the whole thing is just basically geared towards him playing some Whitley stuff, and that's kind of what the vibe I got. Maybe we just turned up at the wrong moment in the set, but it was
Yeah.
just not. It just wasn't good.
How did they go down with the crowd?
it
Not. I mean, couldn't
wasn't
see it was that great.
it wasn't particularly big crowd either, was it?
Right.
No, not
You
really.
know, for what is well, it's effectively a headline set, but they were on a little bit earlier, and Avatar were on after them,
Okay.
sort of late on. But Extreme were billed as the headliners, that's quite common in European festivals.
Right. Yeah.
But still, it was a bit. I mean, they apparently they ended the set, or not apparently, I saw the set list, but they ended the set on an Ozzy and Sabbath medley of like
Okay.
5 songs in 10 minutes, kind of thing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if that was the highlight, then
No.
Right.
you
So
know what I mean?
just to touch on that a little bit. So obviously, we lost our dear Ozzy Osbourne. How was that? Was that represented at the festival? Like, how did because at
We
Bloodstock
actually
we had so many tributes. Like a lot of the bands would play covers. His presence was felt. Was it the same at Alcatraz?
no, it wasn't. We were saying
Lesser
that
than
when
Bloodstock, definitely.
yeah, we were saying that it's like I think it was on the Thursday evening. I think we said like let's have a bet on how many Aussie tributes we're going to get this weekend, and there was
Right.
like two or three maybe.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, me and that man covered Paranoid as they did
Mm.
at
Yeah,
Bloodstock. I think there was a couple of other moments in terms of that side of it. Not a huge amount. I mean, you had an Aussie wall for everyone's run like did at Bloodstock.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
In the El Presidio, which was the big bar where the DJs were playing, there's this enormous picture of Ozzy on the wall, and obviously lots of bands raising a glass to Ozzy and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was felt. But Bloodstock was always going to be different because it's a British festival, isn't it? So there's
Fair
always
comment.
going to be more. He's one of ours kind of thing, and
yeah, yeah.
there was just lots of we love you Ozzy kind of thing from bands, but a lot less in the way of cover versions and
Hmm.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tributes and whatnot. But
Right.
but enough,
Good. Yeah.
enough, which is right. Um, Saturday night ended strong, didn't it? 'Cause it was Candlemas into Obituary.
Yeah, like what a double banger that is. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah, it's not half bad, that is it? And both bands were just fucking just for two completely different reasons,
yeah,
just so heavy.
yeah, and I'd never seen, which is weird because I've been a fan since God knows when. For some reason, I've never seen Candlemas, and so I was kind of a bit nervous, thinking, I wonder if they're going to sound as good. When your expectations are this high, it's difficult.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
easy to be disappointed. But fuck, they sounded good. They
Yeah.
were so good. Just absolutely brilliant. And then Obituary do what Obituary do, which is turn up, deliver,
Obituarize.
deliver riffs and leave. You know.
Yeah,
And obviously they've been doing this Cause of Death heavy set, haven't they? It was like 7 songs from Cause of Death, and all of
yeah.
it just sounded fucking massive. It
Yeah,
Never
just,
and
does.
the Celtic Frost cover as
yeah,
well.
obviously,
The Pirates,
all
which is
that was in
brilliant as
there as
well.
well. So yeah, they were excellent. But we mentioned this earlier on, but the band of the day that we really need to talk about was Psychroptic.
Right.
Holy fuck!
Because like I messaged Nige just before we went. I said, look, I've just listened to this album again. Listened to it before, and it's never clicked. Listen to it again. You know what? It's really fucking good.
And I was on the
Listen to
train.
it.
It was while I was on the
Yeah,
train to
on the
come and
way to
meet
the
you.
festival. You
Right.
fucking loved this. We're like, right, we make sure we go and see this band. And fuck me, are they good?
Incredible, amazing front man, four-piece, only one guitar, but they still a bit similar to Dying Fetus, but yeah, one guitar, but an absolutely massive guitar tone. That guitar player is a fucking genius because his riffs are just so complicated, but there's so much groove. The bass player was amazing, the drummer was amazing, the front man was proper fucking front man, like leaping around like a nutter and stuff. Just they were just fucking brilliant. It's just like they're my new favorite band. Seriously,
It
amazing.
just fucking just absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, me too. Me
What kind?
too.
And these,
Given that I given
so
that I'd
just
never listened to them, 2 days before that, I'd never listened to them. I never heard them. Or I'd
great.
heard of them, but I never heard them.
Yeah, and these guys are further down the bill, so this is in the afternoon.
Yeah, they were
It's
like sort of 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. Maybe a little
right.
bit later, but yeah, quite low down. Tent was pretty packed.
It
Yeah.
was
They've come all the way from Tasmania for a European tour.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's
Okay.
a long old fucking trek. There was a few Aussies in the crowd as well, which helped.
Nice.
But the singer was proper Aussie, you
Mm.
know, just a bloke.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way he nice big stage in that tent as well. And he just
Mm.
fucking tore around it like a
Mm.
lunatic. And his vocal delivery was powerful, absolutely fucking phenomenal live band.
Incredible. Incredible. I would just be
Genuinely like blown away by them.
Right.
I mean, I would travel to see that if they would, that would be, obviously currently living over in Belgium, if they were playing in London, I would travel to go and see them,
What?
you
So
know.
what? Where if you were to pitch them up against someone, like what do they sound like? What's because
I mean,
this is not a band I know. So
they're kind of techie death.
mm,
But if you throw in a slab of like Lamb of God style modern groove
right,
Yeah.
and mix the two things, but all on one guitar, and that's the
right,
amazing thing that it can all be carried by one guitar player. No fucking backing tracks, none of that shit.
right.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. And so to be that technical and that pummeling, but have that rich groove that goes all the way through it and all the hooks. That's fucking masterclass death metal stuff. That.
Yeah. Really. It was brilliant. I can't even explain how brilliant it was.
That's
Yeah.
a heavy endorsement. I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, it'll probably be a while before they're back over here again, but
Mm.
when they do, yeah, that'll be a run, don't walk for that one, definitely.
Yeah.
Podcast road trip to Tasmania. Let's do it.
In an Ashes year, that's what we need
Yeah,
to do.
right. Well, this Christmas, right, we'll go and watch the Ashes and we'll go and watch Cyclops.
Yeah, exactly. So look, hoping to get Jason from Man on for a chat at some point. So Jason, if you do listen to this, I've already got in touch, and I won't be letting that one go. So
Yeah.
I'll speak to you soon.
Fair play. Fair play.
Before we go on to the final day, let's talk a little bit about some of the other bits and pieces that are worth mentioning. One of the big ones, obviously, it was hot as it was at Bloodstock. So in the middle of the arena, there's a marquee which is probably two-thirds the size of the Sophie tent, maybe a little bit bigger.
Mm.
It's just got tables and chairs in it, nothing else, just tables and chairs,
Nice.
racked up like a school fucking canteen.
Mm.
And you could always go in there and sit down. Always, didn't matter what time of the day it was, how busy it was, you could always sit down. Excuse me, under shelter. Total fucking game changer that is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially in that weather.
Yeah.
That made the whole experience so much better than it could have been.
Yeah.
Even if not there were still other places like a couple of bars and that had tables outside, and and things like that. Managing that, they did excellent.
Yeah.
Like that's a proper fucking tick, that one.
Yeah. I mean, we mentioned it, but it's like it's one of the biggest sort of crosses against a festival like Bloodstock is there is no shade. Or
No.
well, there's like a kind of token bit of tarpaulin stretched over a
Yeah,
frame,
yeah.
where, about 15 people could comfortably stand underneath it. But, on a weekend like we've just had for these festivals, you need somewhere where you can shelter, like
Yeah.
a proper space where you can just get a bit of respite from that intense sunshine.
But because there was no walls to it, it was all just open. It means that any draft there was, any little bit of wind went right through it. So like when you're in a normal tent watching bands, obviously it's quite enclosed, isn't it? So you don't get a
Right.
lot of circulation, but it was just always nice and comfortable.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse the
That
pun.
that
Yeah.
made a huge difference. Like the cup system for the beer. So when you got there, you buy your first beer in a half-litre plastic cup,
Right.
which costs you like £3 or whatever it was. And you keep that for the weekend. And every time you go back, they'll either refill it or they'll wash it out for you or they'll give you a fresh one. But you recycle that for the whole weekend.
Right.
And if you don't use those, if you drink the smaller drinks, so the Belgian beer comes in smaller measures, there's little green tokens that they give you and you exchange token for a plastic glass every time.
Right.
Right. And if you want to just give the cup back, there's a place you go and drop it off. They give you a token. So you've always doing that exchange. No
Right.
litter, no cups, no mugs on the grass, anywhere.
Great.
Yeah.
Like fucking spotless.
Yeah.
And never did you really have to queue for a bar. I mean, I counted from what I could remember. I think there was 8 enormous bars, like Lemmy's bar times 3, 8
Right.
times around the site.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, brilliant organisation, I think, and the beer's fucking good. Even the basic Pilsner was
Yeah. Is
bang
there
on.
Yeah,
is there a lot of beers to choose from? Like, can you
There's
can you have
enough.
have
Yeah.
fun just sort of sampling the different wares?
I mean,
Obviously,
there's not like it's not like there's 25 Belgian beers to try, but there's like as well as all the kind of bars around the site, there is actually there's a tent that's just a bar, so it's called El Presidio, right? And so
Right.
they're like pumping like loud music and stuff, but that's just a bar, so there's no bands in there, and they have I think a slightly bigger selection. It's like
yeah.
maybe 6 or 7,
That's where you can go and get your blondes and your triples and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Right.
all the
Right.
Belgian stuff. So, which we sampled a little bit, but you start drinking stuff like that at a festival in the heat, it's not going
Yeah.
to end well. So,
No.
sampled it, but not too much.
And the prices are good as well. I think half a liter, which is essentially a pint, was €6, right?
Yeah, about just
Right.
over
So
6 euros.
two
Yeah.
tokens, which is €6, which is
Yeah.
what, £5. So
Yeah, yeah. So in that sense, really
Decent.
good. The
Decent.
sound in the tents, in particular, the swamp, which was different to a normal marquee. It's like half a Swiss roll kind of thing.
mm,
But the sound in there was just fucking just awesome all weekend. It was in all stages, to be fair. The people were great, as they always are at metal festivals. A shout out to the 4 guys we met from Helston, which was just fucking insane to
that
meet
was
the only
random.
other 4 British people there, and they're from fucking Cornwall.
Right.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys. Sun cream dispensers, which was really cool. Sort of dotted around the festival. You just put your hand in and it dispensed some and fucking covered yourself in it. Brilliant, all for free.
That's amazing. I mean, that is there's a lot of thought gone into that.
Yeah, and it's all those little things that kind of add up, and that can make a festival experience a whole lot better than it could be.
Yeah. You mentioned Swiss roll. So talk to me about the food.
Well,
We
that's
didn't
pretty
sample a
good-
lot of it, did we?
I mean, no, we didn't really. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I mean, we stocked up on like chocolate croissants in the morning before we left the Airbnb. So then we kind of just ate once,
Right.
yeah.
Fair
But there
enough.
was some, I would say probably a similar variety to Bloodstock, but you've got
Yeah.
your basic, burgers and fries, and there's like noodles and Chinese
okay.
stuff, and
Yeah. So
there's
no
like
no one's going hungry.
No.
no, I mean the food's good quality, right? So I think a couple of times we got like loaded fries, which were covered in kind of like a beef stew, which is a typical Belgian thing, and mayonnaise. But the beef in the beef stew was like properly like not fatty and stuff, like really slow cooked and really
Great.
tender. And so yeah, good, like really good quality. Like it's not earth-shatteringly amazing food, but it's good, right? For a festival, it's really good.
But again, that was less than a tenner for the loaded fries with beef stew. So
And that was filling.
yeah, completely. So you had a really good serving, and everything was cooked right, nice and hot.
Mm.
Just the basics that matter, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to expect fucking Gordon Ramsay, are you? But you at least want it to be passable for
Yeah.
human consumption. Um, and one thing
Right.
I want to say, I want to talk about, obviously we weren't in there, but the VIP area, right? So obviously at Bloodstock, a VIP area is like a separate mini arena, isn't it, with a stage and it's all quite full on. The VIP area at Alcatraz, if you stand there watching the main stage, it's over to the right.
Hmm.
It's raised up, and you've got like stadium seating in front of it. So if you're in the VIP bar that's raised up, you basically can watch all the bands on the main stage from a balcony from
Oh,
that
okay.
bar. And that bar is like a full-on pub. It's got booths and everything.
Wow.
There's no other fucking late night shenanigans or VIP bands or anything like that. It's literally just a swanky bar and a great viewing point.
Mm.
And I think that's probably enough to make it a VIP experience.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, sounds good. It's
So that was quite cool as well. Not that we, like I
fair
said, we
play.
went in there, but
On the subject of late night shenanigans, like once all the bands have wound down, does the party continue? Is there stuff
no, you
happening?
fucking go home because it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Is it like shut down? Everyone's done
Yeah,
for.
about I think the band's finished about half one, didn't they? I think the El
Yeah.
Presidio DJs probably run to sort of two half two, but
Yeah.
Right.
I
but
think so.
it's in quite a residential area,
Okay, and
suburbia.
you mentioned that
know.
right at the beginning of the episode, and I was going to ask if that impacts, how they have to run the festival and
Didn't
whether it's
seem to. And when we were walking to the festival, there's already bands playing, and you can't really hear it
right.
either.
Yeah, it was weird,
It
isn't it?
seems to be quite well contained.
Yeah, I mean the edge around the edge of the festival, so where the door is, where the sort of main entrance to the festival is, literally across the road, there are houses. They're right there, but you can't really hear an awful lot,
No,
So, and I just get the impression that people either just go away for that weekend, I guess, to avoid the noise, or they rent their places out as Airbnbs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
So
fucking you would, wouldn't you? Jesus,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
unless you're
So
a raging fucking headbanging lunatic. So
yeah,
right. Let's do Sunday. Like some of the highlight bands. My first band we saw were Pestilence, not worth talking about.
terrible.
Oh,
Um,
really?
Yeah,
yeah,
Right.
very
just
disappointing. I was looking forward to seeing them, and they were
yeah.
disappointing. And
It,
the guy was
it,
playing the tiniest headless, but also
oh,
almost bodiless
I'm
guitar.
out. Headless
But
guitars.
no, but it was almost bodiless as well. It was tiny, and he's a big guy. He's a real muscly guy, right? But
Right.
it was
Yeah,
weird, man.
I can't, to use the vernacular of the kids, they give me the ick.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Headless guitars, no.
No, it didn't look right. Didn't look, you might get away with it in like a gent band or something, but in this,
Or,
no,
or, or level
just
42 or
or
something
level
like that.
42, yeah, but no, they were terrible.
Yeah,
We went and watched fucking Belgian hardcore legends,
they were
Congress.
great.
Right.
Congress. Yeah.
Who were just yeah. I mean, again, a Belgian hardcore band in the region where Belgian hardcore is at its strongest.
Mm.
Yeah, fucking brilliant. Just pure power.
Yeah.
As usual, you get with hardcore bands, you got a couple of hangers on who come out and sing as well and throw themselves into the crowd and all the circle pits and all that. Fucking brilliant.
Did you
Bang of
manage to hang
riffs.
on to your pint this time?
Yeah, we stood back.
Yeah, yeah,
We stayed out of that one.
yeah.
But yeah, I
Health and
mean,
safety
you
first.
yeah, nice. You weren't that familiar with them, but they were just
Not
chock
at all,
full
but
of riffs, weren't
they were great. They were just again just fantastic, clear sound, massive groovy riffs. Little fella, he looked a bit tired at some point,
they? He did look
disappointingly.
fucked, didn't he? Yeah.
But the
It
thing is,
probably
it didn't really
was, to be
matter.
fair.
Yeah, but it didn't really matter because they were like Tregenza says, there were like three vocalists essentially who kind of like came in and out. So there was always kind of something going on, and yeah, they were great. Really enjoyed them.
Yeah, really,
It's
really
what you
cool.
need on a Sunday, isn't it? A real pick me up, a real booster.
That's exactly what they were actually. After watching Pestilence, they were like, right, that's got me in the mood now. That's
Right.
setting me up for the rest of the
See,
day. So
this pestilence, it sounds to me like the old guard have really let the side down here.
you know
I
what?
mean,
That
that's
was
what's
one of
that's
that was one of
Big
the key
theme.
takeaways we had. The younger bands really fucking delivered. They sort of show other
Mm.
than like Candlemass and Obituary and Helicopters, bands like that really stood out.
yeah,
It was the younger bands that held the thing up, and there's a lot to be said for that. That makes
yeah,
it exciting as well. That
yeah. No, you're right.
you know,
It's like the future is bright.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
another old guard band that did stand out, they were Forbidden, who were very good on the main stage.
Ah,
I think they would be my favorite old school thrash that we saw this weekend. Obviously, I
Clearly,
mean, old, from back in the day. They sounded really good, actually, really good.
yeah, better than I expected them to be.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, the last time I saw them was with the old singer, so we're going back about 15 years, and they were good, but not particularly memorable. But it was just a bit better, I think, a bit more engaging with the crowd. great
Hmm.
circle pits going on, beach balls and fucking, women with super soakers and all that kind of stuff. So,
Mm.
loads of good, wholesome thrash metal fun. Uh,
Wholesome.
we watched a bit of Pig Destroyer. They were mental.
Yeah.
Devastation were really cool when they
Mm.
speed metal band, sort of black
Another
speed
example,
metal. Another one of these speed metal bands.
Belgian, I think, as well.
Yeah,
So they had a big crowd.
Oh,
And I
right.
realized I didn't think I'd seen them before, but I realized I had seen them before, and I can't remember where I saw them now. But I remember back then thinking, "Oh, these guys are
but of
worth
course
seeing."
she was very, very drunk.
I can't remember where it was, but yeah, again, very similar to the trio of like Violent Sin, Vulture, Devastation. There are three kind of brilliant old school, young but old school speed metal
Yeah,
bands just knocking it out of the park.
yeah,
Much more so than Overkill and Dark Angel. You know.
Yeah. Fucking right. Good on
yeah,
them.
which is really cool to see. Terrifier were another one of those bands. They didn't really click with us, did they? They were a bit sort of, eh.
Yeah, they
Hmm.
were okay, but they weren't great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't really hit home. We watched a bit of Kerry King, which was a really weird experience because we watched
Mm.
some of it. It played Rain in Blood and whatnot, and played
Right.
they
Black
played Black
Magic.
Magic as well, didn't they? Which was
Yeah.
quite cool. And then Mark Ozagueda made this big speech right before the last song of just sort of rousing everybody up and fucking getting all fucking pumped and heavy metal, all that fucking cliche, which we all
Mm.
love. And then they just went and played a Kerry King song to finish the set. The
Yeah,
way
the
they
way he
built
was.
up, it was like they were going to go and do Angel of Death.
You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It was just poorly timed. And we were like, we looked at each other and went, should we go somewhere else?
Right.
Mm. Yeah. It
You
Not
was
know,
what you want,
but
not for
again,
Kerry King.
massive crowd,
Yeah.
very
I'm
big
not
crowd.
fucking massive
surprised,
crowd.
yeah, by that, but mm.
But yeah. Downset, we
Oh,
caught a bit of,
wow.
yeah, because they stepped in late on.
Yeah.
Il Nino pulled out, Downset stepped in. I was like fucking happy about that. We only caught
They
the
Yeah.
were
last
good.
couple of songs. They
I had
sounded
no
fucking
idea
great.
Downset was still making music.
Yeah, mate, and they sounded good. Sounded
Hmm.
really good. Place was going
Yep.
nuts for them as well.
It really
So
was.
yeah,
They
yeah,
had a
no,
big
they were
crowd as
cool.
well. It was pretty packed as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, that part, like I said, that part of the world is big on its hardcore. So anything like that was
Mm.
always going to pull a big crowd. Um, Next band we saw come back to because
Yeah.
we'll round off with a couple of bands in particular. Cole and I watched a very small bit. Wasn't in the mood.
Right.
Um, Dim and Borg we watched a little bit of on the main stage. They were good, but Nigel's facial expression pretty much sums it all. It was like, yeah,
Like, I mean, they again, I think I would put them in a category. I'd like to see them, it was still sunny, and it was like, I'd like
Hmm.
to see them somewhere smaller and darker,
yeah,
Yeah.
bit more grim,
when
bit
my kind of
colder.
brain is like, I'm going to listen to that type of music, you know what I
Like the toilets at Helgi's.
mean?
Yeah, Dimmu Borgir live from the toilets at Helgi's. Yeah, I'll have some of that. Yeah,
Actually, can I just say, going back to what we were talking about, great things about the festival. The other thing that we didn't mention is that Alcatraz has proper flushing toilets,
yeah,
and they are spotlessly clean,
Wow.
stocked with toilet roll all weekend.
yeah,
And I think it's not exactly a game changer, but it's just kind of like a nice difference from having like a really stinky drop thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. That that
it's
was that
never
was definitely
pleasant, is it?
noticeable.
It's kind of, you think of it as a necessary evil, but you know what? If somewhere like Alcatraz can do it,
Yeah.
why can't that be implemented elsewhere?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it should be. There were just plenty of them, I think, is what helped. There
Yep.
was a lot more
Mm.
than you would expect for a festival of that size. Um, Fu Manchu, we watched about half their set. We were just about to go walk off to go and watch one of the biggest pulls of the weekend. As we were walking out, they started banging straight into King of the Road. I was like, no, we gotta
Right.
wait,
Yeah. Yeah.
gotta go
Yeah.
back and see that.
It
And
was good.
fucking brilliant, Fu Manchu,
Yeah.
aren't they? You know,
I'd never seen them before, but they were great. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah. They
Yeah.
just look. They just always look like. I mean, like I said, the last time I saw them was 27 years ago, but they were no different to what they were back then.
Yeah.
They
And I
just look like
think,
they're having a laugh on stage.
yeah, I was going to say, I think my main memory of them is they just look like they just make it look so easy, like
Yeah,
they're not even really trying. It's just like, yeah, but you feel like you've almost like dropped in on a rehearsal, but in a good
Yeah.
way, but in a good way,
yeah, but that's it. That's the difference. Like a band like Overkill, who probably did think it was easy, it looked
Mm,
phoned in, whereas Fu Manchu looked like they were having the fucking time of their life.
yeah, yeah,
So, we watched a bit of Machine Head, and
Mm.
there's lots of fucking fire and all the big, but it didn't really. But I get it. I get why people like them and for that kind of thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
you know, as a headline band, we'll talk. We're going to talk about this on another episode. But this whole sort of like production with headline bands, what is actually carrying that
Mm.
performance? And it felt a bit like that. That it was more the
Right.
production than it
Yeah.
was the band. So, but we're going to talk about that sort of next week on a different episode.
Mm, mm.
Um, but so the last two bands we want to talk about, we're running on a bit here, so we'll make it relatively quick. So Prong, right? So Prong are
Talk to me. Tell
responsible.
me about
Yeah.
prong.
So
Give me some
Prong.
prong. Give me
Yeah.
some prong.
I'll give you a big 12-inch Prong. Um, so Cleansing is one of my sort of top 10, maybe top 15 push albums of all time. Right. It's a bona fide fucking classic. And they've got loads of other strong material as well. Now they started off, didn't they? They came on stage, it started off, and the first two songs were quite flat.
Yeah,
It didn't
it
look like
was a
the
bit
crowd
like,
was getting into it, and we were like, I was sort of like, oh, this is a bit disappointing. And then for some reason, can't remember what they played third in,
no, it
but
suddenly it switched, didn't it? All
they
of a
went. I
sudden.
think they went back to sort of beg to differ, and but yeah, it's almost like a switch went off in the crowd, and the place went fucking mental.
And
Right.
it stayed that way for the next 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, we were
Mm.
probably about 10, 12 feet from the barrier, and we had
Mm.
to go back because the crowd surfing just got fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it was just a constant path over our
I think
heads.
it was the biggest crowd surfing of the weekend, actually.
Yeah, it was man. It
Wow.
was
That
mad. It was
set.
constant for their entire set. It was just non-stop.
Yeah.
Here's a little anecdote about prong. So prong is the only, and this is nothing about the band, right? But prong is the only mosh pit I've ever been in where I felt genuinely unsafe.
Wow.
Right. In all the years, it's always kind of, it's been rough, it's been rowdy, it's been exciting. Prong is the only time I've genuinely had moments of this is not safe,
Wow.
which is nothing against Prong because they're one of my
Mm.
favorites, just as you said. But that particular night, Camden Underworld, it went off.
Mm. Well,
That venue. It seems to have that effect on people, though, doesn't it? But I mean, it
mm.
wasn't. It was nothing like that. It was never sort of feared for our safety because we noticed sort of late on sort of from the crowd surfers, there was a couple of kids who must have been 10 years old,
That was
Yeah.
great,
both
wasn't it?
friends, both in cut-off jackets, both sort of crowd surfing together, and it was like a really cool thing to see because they
Yeah, it
were
was.
fucking loving it, and
Yeah,
it was all good natured and everything, and no, but
Brilliant.
it was
Yeah.
when they were doing stuff like whose fist is it anyway, and obviously snap your finger, snap your neck, just fucking incredible.
Yeah. Tommy Victor's guitar tone, right?
Oh,
yes,
One of the
yeah,
sickening.
best live guitar tones I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
yeah.
absolutely sickening.
Another example of from the weekend of one guitar band
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounding much bigger than they have every ready right to sound.
yeah,
Right.
You know,
yeah. Just
just brilliant.
fucking absolutely ridiculous band. And
Yeah.
you think at this point they might be sort of. I know it's only Tommy Victor, but the band seemed like quite a strong unit.
Mm.
There was lots of good presence from him and the bass player. So
Yeah. Great.
yeah, it's just one of my top five of the weekend without a doubt.
Yeah.
Um, right, so I may as well round it off with my band of the weekend.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay.
yeah, which was Emperor,
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
who
Right.
were
Okay.
just fucking magnificent. Like there was a couple of little niggly sound issues in the set.
Right.
Mm.
Sounded like a fucking crackling record, but it was only brief. But I mean, just absolute pure fucking black metal majesty.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
band,
Yeah. I mean, they're just the best out there doing it,
they are, they really are. And nice. So you've seen them before, and you wasn't all that
Yeah. So I mean, I think
taken
the
by
thing
them.
is, as I think I've said on this podcast and probably to you guys privately as well, I think if you go back for me like 5, 6 years ago, I was really just listening to thrash and traditional metal and some doom. I didn't really listen to much death metal. I didn't listen to any black metal. I thought all black metal was shit. And so when I saw Emperor the first time, and that was when I hadn't really ever listened to any black metal, I just thought, and it was at Bloodstock, and I was just like, no, I still don't get it. But now I've listened to more black metal, and I love a lot of black metal now, or some black metal. So my ear is more attuned to it, and yeah, I mean, I thought they weren't my band of the weekend, but I thought they were fucking outstanding. Like classy is the word
Mm.
I kept thinking.
right.
Just classy,
Yeah.
just so good. You could just hear the songwriting is just so sophisticated, even through all the kind of noise and blast, but there actually wasn't as much. There wasn't as much blast beat as I thought there would be.
There's more
Actually,
melody in Emperor than
Yeah.
you think.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly,
definitely.
exactly right. And I think that's what I mean. It's just like there's a lot of great songwriting going on in there. But yeah, and he sounded great. Guitar tones were great.
Can we
Few
get a
sounds
special shout
tuned.
out for his purple Telecaster?
Yeah.
Like, did
Yes,
anyone expect Emperor to come on stage, for Ishan to be playing a purple Telecaster? I
no.
didn't. I
But
didn't
yeah,
have that on my summer festival bingo card, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, just
brilliant.
yeah, just pure power. Everything about them was just fucking blew me away. When they ended on Yi and Trans Imperium, which is my favorite Emperor song by a mile. In fact, the whole set list was pretty much my like go-to. If I was going to choose 10 or 11 Emperor songs, it would have been those. So it was perfect. Even, in the Wordless Chamber from Prometheus, my favorite song from that album. But
Yeah.
when they finished with Yi and Trans Imperium, I just looked at him and I can go home now. That's it,
Yeah,
done. Don't need to see
yeah,
anything else. We still have Rotten Christ to come yet, which
Right.
we were great, but we didn't watch them for very long. But
Mm.
but yeah, just my band of the weekend, them, Prong, Psychroptic, not necessarily in that order, but those would be the
Yeah.
three that really fucking stood out. Helicopters as well. And probably Crypt Sermon for the five, I would say.
Oh,
mm.
great.
But
Yeah.
for me, for me, Psychroptic for sure, Crypt Server for sure. I think Dying Fetus. I think Helicopters.
Mm.
Um, Candlemass. I think they'd be my five. But then
Right.
with honorable mentions for Emperor, Forbidden, Violent Sin. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just. But I think it's cool that two of the bands that were my two of my five bands of the weekend were bands I just didn't really know that well. Psychroptic and Helicopters,
Yeah.
which says a lot about how good they were live. I think. You know.
Yeah. And I think the fundamental difference this time compared to going to Bloodstock, we do treat it, we've always treated it like a fucking party, haven't we?
Mm. Mm.
If you
Mm.
miss a band here and there, so what? You're with your mates and you're having a laugh and whatnot. But we saw a lot of bands. I've got a list of 48 bands, and
Right.
only 10 of those I've seen before.
Wow.
So I thought that in itself was made it a really worthwhile trip and something a bit different. So I think the big takeaway, I think if you do fancy something different, it's really easy to get to. It's got a great vibe, great lineup. Well, it did this year, see about next year. But in general, it's well worth it. And financially, I don't think it would be that much different overall when you throw in
Right.
travel and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Nigel, I thank you for the recommendation and
I'm glad. Well,
taking me along for the ride.
thanks for making the trip. It was a fucking banging weekend, and I'm glad you enjoyed it because I was kind of feeling the pressure a bit, thinking, oh, Alcatraz is great, and blah, 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 blah. I was thinking, yeah, what if you come over and go, oh, fuck, it's really shit or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really happy that you liked it.
Is it a question for you, Nige? So has it evolved much? Like this year, was it pretty much the same template as it
Um,
has been before? Or have you seen
I
a lot of
think
change?
so. I think the first year that I went, they didn't have the smallest. I can't remember, but they only had three stages. The
Right.
first year I went, and maybe the second year I went. So
Okay.
I think it's after COVID, and then it was COVID. So I think it's after the three that I've been to since COVID has been kind of the same layout as it is now. So with the four big stages, oh sorry,
Right.
main stage, two kind of essentially two Sophie stages, sort of, and then a smaller marquee, and then which is still pretty big though. I mean, it's nothing like
Yeah,
the Jägermeister stage of Bloodstock. It's still a proper
Right.
venue, right?
Right.
But then and having the place to sit and having another separate bar where there's another big load of seating and having the big indoor bar with all the Belgian beers. So it's the same. It's been the same for sort of 3 years, and I think it's yeah. I mean, it's I think it's I love it. I think it's great. It'll be I would love to come back to Bloodstock because of course so many of my friends go to it, right? But I think it would be interesting going back to Bloodstock now would be like,
Mm.
oh, it feels
Mm.
quite
Mm.
small maybe because it's got one fewer stage, or in fact almost two fewer stages, right?
Right. 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 Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, one final shout out before we go to our Airbnb, which was a beautiful house to stay in.
Mm.
Way too big for two of us. It was ridiculous. But there was a record player and a vinyl collection there in this little sort of music room on the ground floor, and it said in the guide, feel free to listen to records, help yourself. And we went through the collection, and there's everything in there. There was fucking Sleep's Dope Smoker in there. There was Amon Ra albums in there. There was Ramones. There was like fucking Pixies, Mogwai, all sorts of really, really quite hipstery stuff, but
I'm
really
I'm
fucking
surprised
cool
you
stuff.
left the Airbnb and made it to the
Yeah.
festival. I mean, a few tins of beer and that record collection. What's, you know,
Well, and
that's
a suitcase full of records, but
Yeah.
yeah, just very, very cool. You know, nice location, and yeah, and a shout out to the pharmacist who sorted me out with my mosquito bites.
Yeah, you did look like a mutant by the Saturday. You looked
I
like,
fucking look like a Klingon.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that's about it. Nige, thanks for coming on again. It's an absolute pleasure.
Anytime, gents. Love it.
I've seen enough of you now for the next week, so I'll see you next year.
Oh, but I thought you missed me already.
Yeah, I do. Miss the late night cuddles.
Those long nights in Belgium, didn't they
Yeah,
rush by?
they weren't that long.
I'm feeling the romance. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, yeah,
Why
you
do
bet.
birds suddenly appear?
Exactly. We'll be back here next week. We're going to follow on from this festival thing next week because, you know, 2026 lineups have been announced. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but also believe there's a headliner problem, and that's what we're going to talk about. That, you know, there seems to be a bit of a saturation of festivals, and are there enough headliners to go around? And this is at
Mm.
various different levels. So we want to have a bit of a talk about that, don't we, and discuss where these festivals go in the future. You know, over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, what's going to happen to it. So that'll come next week, and like I said, we'll talk about Bloodstock 2026 and all that kind of stuff. So until that, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
And
Cheers, guys.
thanks everybody for watching and listening. See you next week. Stay metal.